Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs and back to our JavaScript series. I hope you guys are enjoying this JavaScript series. So today we are going to talk about one very important and slightly confusing topic in JavaScript, that is what do you mean by callback function, and how to use it, when exactly it will be called, and we will see when we design the framework and everything. So what is the importance of callback function, that also we will see in upcoming chapters. But today we really need to understand that when to use and what exactly the syntax and what is the purpose of the callback function. So I'll do one thing. Let me just come back here and let me create one file. And then I'm writing, let's see, callback.js. And in this particular callback.js, we are going to write something here. So callback means I'm talking about callback function. Callback function is a function that is passed as an argument to another function. It means whenever we are calling a specific function, we are passing one argument as a function. So far, what we have seen, whenever we are calling a function, we are passing some argument, like some values we are passing. But this time, what exactly we will do, we will call that a specific function by passing a specific function, right? So callback function is a function that is passed as an argument to another function, and generally it will be executed after some specific task, and that specific task is called with the asynchronous call. Okay, so we will talk about what do you mean by asynchronous call also in some basic knowledge. I'll give it to you, although it's a very lengthy topic about asynchronous process and synchronous process. But today we will see some asynchronous call or task which is happening once this task is, or we can say this function is completed, or I would say this function is completed, then only callback function will be called. Remember this line. Okay. So let's see how to create that. So first we will see, let's see, simple basic callback. It means without any asynchronous process, without any no concept of asynchronization here. Simple writing one function here. Let's see, my function name is, let's see, I'm writing greet function. Okay, I really want to greet. And in this function, I'm taking one, tell me the employee name or at least any user name, and then give me writing, let's see, any callback. You can write anything here. This is just a callback function name. Okay, you can write my name, your name, whatever you want to write. Let's see, I'm writing callback. And then this function says that print something on the console. So I'm writing console.log, and in this console.log, let's see, I'm printing hello plus whatever the name that you are giving to me. I'm just printing it, that thing. And then I'm saying this callback function. See, I'll be calling this function. I'll be passing something like Naveen, comma, and then the function name that I really want to call. So you can see this greet is a normal function. This is not a callback function. Greet is just a normal function, but in this function, I'm giving one parameter, second parameter as a callback function, giving the callback function name. But how will you call this callback function here? So let's say I'm calling this callback function here. I'm saying, okay, fine, I'm going to call this. But we need to have that callback function definition here. Like we have to define that. We have to give the business logic and method body for that. So for example, let's say I'm going to create another function here. Let's see, here I'm writing welcome function. Okay. In this particular welcome function, I'm just printing here that console.log, and just printing one welcome message here. That's it, right? So what exactly this is my callback function, guys. This welcome, we will see that how exactly this is my callback function. So here I'm writing, this is my callback function. This is just a normal function that I have created. So which method I have to call, or which function I have to call? I have to call this greet function. Let's say I'm calling it. So when I call this greet function, it says you have to give me two things. First of all, that give me the name. So let's say I'm giving the name as a Naveen, comma, and then it says, tell me which function that you really want to call. So here I'm saying that, okay, hey, I'm going to call the welcome function. So you just need to write the function name here. So what will happen? This greet function will be called, Naveen will be given to this one, and welcome as a function name will be given to this one. This console.log will be completed first, and then it will call the callback function. Now, this step could be, right now, this is a simple, a normal step, I would say, or you can say a normal sync, a step or task we have written here. But now it could be something I'm writing. It could be one async call also, or maybe some async API that you are calling. something like this. So we will see that example also. Right now we are just printing, let's see, one message here. So what will happen once this particular message is done, and then the specific callback function will be called here. Which callback function? So it will automatically go and check that I really want, we have this welcome function. So this welcome function will be called here. Why welcome function? Because we are passing it here. We are giving the instruction to this function that, okay, after this line, please call the welcome function here. Okay, so here you don't need to write any parenthesis. Here also you don't need to write any parenthesis. But here obviously we are writing with parenthesis because we are calling that function. So let's run it. Is it really working or not? So I'll do one thing. I just simply go to my terminal and then I'm going to write, save it, and then I'm going to write a node callback.js. So here you can see that Naveen will be given to this guy. It's printing hello Naveen, and then the welcome function is getting called here. So this is like very, very simple example, a simple basic callback example we have seen. Now what we will do, we will take another example. And with this example, we will say, okay, fine, with the callback function I'm writing, callback function with async function. We will see some existing asynchronous function in Java script, and I'm writing with async function, something like this, or some async process. So what exactly I'm going to do that? See this here, I'm going to write, let's see, one more function here. Okay. And let's see the function name that I'm going to write. Let's see, I'm writing print info. Okay, let's see, this is a function name that I have written. And this print info also says, okay, fine, you give me some employee name or username and give me the callback here. Like, tell me which function you want to call. Okay, so here we are giving that, okay, I want to call this particular function. So I'll be calling print info method, and by passing the name, comma, callback function, which method I really want to call. And let's decide the method also. Let's see, the method name is, here I'm writing, let's see, display message, some random function that I'm writing. And here, let's see, one simple basic function, display function that I have written. And this says that, okay, you have to supply me the message here, and simple console.log, and the same message, I'm going to print it here. So this is my callback function, remember. It means callback, simple. So what exactly I'm going to do that? See, we have not written any async function here. So this, what exactly I'm going to do that? I'm going to call this print info function from here. Okay, so let's call it. And then this guy says, okay, you give me the name. So let's see, I'm giving the name this time, Lisa here. And then I'm saying that please call this display message once again. But here, what exactly I'm going to write that? I'm going to write one asynchronous, a function, or maybe a task, or maybe you can say asynchronous, a step that I'm going to write here, which is taking some time, right? So I'm going to put a deliberate delay here with the help of one set timeout function. So this set timeout function is the asynchronous function, which is already there and already predefined in JavaScript. So here I'm writing that set timeout as a function that I'm going to write. And this is says, okay, fine, you give me one anonymous function like this. And then after that, whatever the step that you are really want to use. So let's see here, I'm writing that printing info for whatever the name that you are giving to me. And then after this, once this is done, I really want to call that callback function. So how will you call it? Same thing, callback, and then call that function. Which function? This function, display function, display message will be called. So display message, because we are giving to this guy. And now I want to call this display message by using the same function parameter that you have given here. And now we have to supply a message also. So message that I really want to supply, that call me back. Okay, some string that we are printing it or passing it here. And this set timeout function says, okay, fine, if you really want to give a timer, you can give that. It means, let's say I'm giving 1000 millisecond, means 1 second of timeout also I really want to give. It means a delay of 1000. So how exactly it is working now? So we are calling print info method, and print info method will be called here, and we are passing Lisa to this, and display message as a callback function definition name that we are giving here. And we are saying, okay, fine, set timeout for the, let's see, 1 second that we have written here. And 1 second means after 1 second, you start calling this console.log, print this particular statement on the page. And once this is done, then you print this callback function on the console. Okay, so after 1 second, the callback function will be called here. Okay, so see this, I'm running it. and it says that this is print info for Lisa, and then please call me back, coming here after 1 second. So let's say I'm increasing the wait to 5 seconds now. Okay, 5 seconds means 5,000 milliseconds and 5 seconds. You can say that. So let's run it again. So what will happen? See, this is still running, and then after 5 seconds, first it will printing info for Lisa, and then please call me back. So we are giving a deliberately delay, a static wait. We are giving it here, and this static wait of 5 seconds, which will take, once this 5 seconds are done, then only this console.log will be printed, and then this callback function will be called over here. Okay, so that's what this step is, actually a asynchronous call. It means we are giving a statement here, we are giving the instruction here to the set timeout function that, okay, once your work is done after 5 seconds, then you please call the callback function. What is the advantage here? The advantage here is that if you don't use it as a callback function, then in that case, what will happen then? There is no definition of callback function, and let's see, if you have returns after the asynchronous call, then that call will be executed immediately, and then again, after 5 seconds, this console.log will be printed over there. So that's why we are really going to hold of the asynchronous function. Once we get the complete output from the asynchronous function, then only I really want to call my callback function over here. Okay, so this is the definition of the callback function. As I told you, callback function is a function where we have to supply to a function as an argument. So you can see that we are calling this print info, and we are passing the function name. Which function name? The display message as an argument. It will be given it over here. Okay, generally we can use it for the asynchronous API also, or with the normal asynchronous functions also, we can use it here, right? Okay, for example, in real time, what happens that we will write some code here. Let's see, this method is doing some fetching the data from the API, from the server, and we are calling some fetch APIs or get API or something like this, which is taking around, let's say, 10 seconds, 15 seconds of time. So we are holding that, okay, fine. Once that task is completed, done, once the API response is, okay, captured over here in the form of JSON or something, then only you call that function. It means then only you display the message or JSON. Then only whatever the JSON is coming here, I'll supply that JSON to the callback function to display message, and then we will do the display of the JSON on the console or whatever you want to do it here. Okay, so in such cases, we are going to use the callback. Let's take one more example. Okay, with the set timeout again. So let's see, I really want to fetch the user data. Okay, so although I'm not calling any API here, but let's see one function that I'm going to create, that let's see, fetch user data. And this fetch user data says that you have to give me the user ID. Okay, so I'll be giving the user ID. And then once you get the user information, which callback function you want to call. So here I'm writing, okay, fine, you just give me any callback function, we will call it for you. Okay. Then after that, again, I'm writing, let's see, the same thing, that the set timeout, and the set timeout, we are writing this again function. And this says that let's create one user object here. Okay, so I'm going to create one user's object. How to create the object, that we have already discussed here. And we have to give the key and value pair format. So let's see, here I'm writing that user number 1 as a key, and the data that I'm going to write, for example, let's see, like this. So here I'm writing, let's see, user ID, which is 1, comma, a name, which is, let's see, in double quote, I'm writing user ID is equal to 1 and name is equal to Naveen. Okay. And then here I'm writing, let's see, number 2, like this. And here again, I'm writing the second user, which is ID equal to 2. And the name is equal to, let's say, Tom, something like this we have written. Okay, and then the user object is closed here. Perfect. Now, after this, what do you want? After this, I want that a callback function also we have to create. But before that, we have to call that callback function. So what I'll do here, that I'm going to fetch, let's see, whatever the user ID that you are passing, right? 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. On the basis of that user ID, I really want to fetch a specific users. So here I'm writing users, and then you supply the user ID here. The same user ID. Let's say user ID is a 1. So this is user ID 1. So what exactly it will give it to you? Whatever the first user it's giving to me, and then I'm storing inside a user variable here once again. Okay, so user ID, I'm passing it 1 here. Okay, it means give me the first user. And once the first user is there, then I'm writing one if condition. So once the user is fetched, I'm writing one if condition here. And in this if condition here, I'm writing that if the user is there, it means this particular user object is available or the data is available, then do what? Then you call a callback function. Which callback function? Now we have to create a callback function here. So I'll do one thing, I'll come out of this function. Now see, this will be my callback function, that once you fetch the data from this user, which function you want to call, right? So let's see here, I'm going to write a function. Let's see, the function name is, let's see, here I'm just writing handle, let's see, user data, something like this. Okay. And then here also I'm giving that handle user data. If any kind of error is there, okay, we are defining something here that, okay, one error variable, and then the user variable also that you are giving to me. And then I'm writing that if any error is there, then do what? Then do something. Then I'm writing, let's see, simple console dot, instead of log, that I'm printing one error here. And then whatever the error that you really want to print, let's see, error colon, and then this particular error. Okay. Else, if the error is not there, it means the actual user that you are passing, then I'm simple writing that a console dot log, or you can say console dot info also. And then you can just print the actual whatever the user that you have fetched, and then you are giving the same user and print it here also. Okay, like this. So this is why, let's see, a simple callback function that I'm passing. So again, back to this function. This is the actual function that we have created, and this is my callback function. So this function says, okay, fine, you give me that callback, and then on the basis of that, we will decide. So here I'm saying, okay, once you fetch the user on the basis of user ID, and then again, I'm writing one if condition here, then I'm writing my callback here. And then if the user is available, so which we have to call, this particular method will be called, it says, give me the error. But if the user is available, do you really want to pass the user? Do you really want to pass the error? No, right? Because user is available. So in that case, I'm saying that, okay, no, I'm passing null here. There is no error. Okay. If there is no error, then I'm going to supply the same user here, whatever the user that you have fetched here. Simple. Okay. And then I'm writing another else here like this. Else, if user is not available, let's say user is kind of error, then it will come inside the else. It means user is not available, it will be false, so it will come inside the else. Then again, I'm calling the same function. This time I'm passing one error message here. So let's see, here I'm writing user not found. Okay, see, such a simple example. User not found, comma, and instead of user, I'm passing the null here. Okay, like this. And then again, this is the set timeout. So inside timeout, remember the second parameter, you have to give the timeout. So let's say I'm giving 2000 milliseconds of timeout. I'm giving it here like this. Simple. So this is the thing that we have created. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. This is the fetch user data, and this is my callback function. And this function says you give me the user ID. If you are giving me the right user ID, for example, let's see 1. So if we will, user object is already available with us. So on the basis of user ID 1, we will pick this particular user, and we will check a quick check. If the user is available, say call the same callback function. Because there are no error, then I'm going to supply null as an error, and then user, I'm going to supply it here. If error is not there, it will go to the else part and print the user information. But let's see, if I'm passing the user ID is 3, there is no 3 user ID 3 is available here. No. Then again, it will go and check user, give me the user ID 3. No. So this will be what? This is a false. So this if condition will be false. So it will go to the else part, and I'm calling callback function user not found. And then user not found means error will be user not found. So yes, error is user not found means if error is there, then call this particular function here, and that's it. Okay. So how will we run this? So let's call this function. Okay, you should not call the callback function here. Obviously, we are going to call this function here, fetch user data. And this function says that, okay, give me the user ID. So here I'm passing the user ID, let's see, 1, comma, and what is your callback function name? So this is my callback function name here. Okay, exactly same thing. So what will happen in that case? In this case, see this same handle user data that we are giving as a function parameter to this particular function. And after 2 seconds, once the asynchronous task is done, then only the callback function will be called. Okay. So let's run this and let's see, is it really working or not? So I'll go to my terminal, clear the console, node, and callback.js. And here we are passing the user ID as a 1. So yes, we are getting the right output, user ID, which is a 1. User ID 1 is available here. This is my key, and this is a complete object that I have created as a value here. User ID 1. So it will give you ID 1, name Naveen. And the same user I'm calling as a callback function. Handle user data function will be called. There are no errors. It will print user and the user object. Although this user object is printing like this, because here actually I'm printing with the concatenation. I'm going to print with the comma here. So it will just give you the exact information about that user. Okay, so let's run it again. And see, after 1 second, it says ID 1 and name Naveen. Now I'm deliberately passing user ID number 3, which is not there, right? So now the user ID 3 is not there. So this user is what? This user has no value. It means this will be false. So it will go to the else part. It will call the callback function. The same callback function is handling the error also. And when I call in the else part, I'm deliberately passing user not found as an error. And whatever the user is what? Nothing here. We did not find any user. So it will go to the else, it will go to the error part because error is available, and then error will be printed on the console. Okay, so let's see this. So it says, yeah, error, user not found here. Perfect. So this is how you can just simply use it as a callback function here. So here also, the set timeout is the asynchronous function, which is having the timeout delay of 1 second or 2 seconds. Let's make it, see, 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, it will be executing. See, let me run it again. And here you can see here that once the 5 seconds are over, then only it says username not found. And then let's pass it once again, and let's call it again. So after 5 seconds, it will say user 1, user found here. You can say user ID 1, name Naveen here. Perfect. So that's about the callback function. I hope you get it.